On June 21st, 2024, we've got really powerful and kind of weird full moon in Capricorn. This happens at 9:08 p.m. Eastern US time, so calculate that for your own time zone. And it's extra intense because we've got the Cancer Solstice the day before. So we're really having to integrate these Cancer and Capricorn polarities. So mother Cancer versus father Capricorn, kind of needing to pull back and be in your own shell. That's the crab of the Cancer versus forging ahead and moving into a leadership role. That's that Capricorn energy, kind of the nurturing versus the ruthlessness, being able to, make the tough decisions. Conflict between kind of home versus business, the need for protection, that's that Cancer energy, versus the urge and need to protect. That would be more of the Capricorn energy. And so we've got this polarity here. Every time that we've got the opposite signs, they do have something in common. In this case, it's a more traditional sign, both the Cancer and the Capricorn. Cancer would be more like the traditional family. Capricorn would be more like the traditional structures. So family could be one of those, but it's also kind of the corporation, the government, the organized religions. And that's going to play out in the energies of this full moon because they're kind of weird due to a square from Neptune in the very, very last degree of Pisces. That's called the anaretic degree whenever a planet gets to that 29 plus range of a sign. And what it does, especially with Neptune ruling Pisces, is it kind of strengthens that Neptunian energy, both on the positive side and the negative. So we get that magical, mystical, spiritual, wow kind of feeling of Neptune. But we also get the extremely porous boundaries, the deception, the illusion, the delusion, the drug addiction, the alcoholism, pretty much all the negatives of the sign of Pisces and the sign of Neptune are also in the mix. And so that kind of taps in. I'm going to put the chart up here and you're going to see that we have some other objects that are really amplifying this kind of magical distortion field that's happening with the more black and white kind of Capricorn energy. So here's the chart, and you can see at that 29 degree Pisces, we've got Neptune, but then just bumped over into Aries, we've got Circe. Circe is a minor goddess from Greek mythology. She was the daughter of a nymph and the daughter of Helios, the sun. And so Helios being very powerful, but the daughter of a nymph, she didn't really have all the power of a lot of the other gods. If you haven't read Madeline Miller's book, her novel on Circe, really amazing book, especially if you hear it on Audible. Just really a great job with that. But that's just kind of these energies of Circe. She's a very kind of polarizing figure in the sense that she was able to turn people into beasts, turn gods into monsters, and she did do that. But at the same time, she also was a really powerful healer. She knew how to do the herbs, the potions, the spells in order to create tremendous healing and also protection. So kind of a bit of an odd figure there, but we've also got Borasizi, and Borasizi is from Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut, and this was like the sun god there, and he's kind of associated with deception, and especially like when we are willfully fooled. So it's like all the signs are there, all the warnings are in place, but nevertheless, we continue on that path forward. So that is Borasizi, very associated with deception in organized religion. And so again, this kind of ties in with that Capricorn full moon. And when you look at the image, when you look at the chart, you see that moon is just all off by itself. There's all this stuff going on in Cancer. We've got a stellium in Cancer, which I'm going to get to, but we've got, planets in Aries, planets in Taurus, Gemini, but there's the full moon in Capricorn all by its lonesome self. And that is kind of an energy about Capricorn. It can feel a little more lonely, whereas the Cancer side of that polarity is like that group energy. So we have this kind of tension between the tradition, between the, top-down authority in religion and government, etc., and this kind of square energy cutting through that and creating a massive distortion field, but also potential for disillusionment when kind of the illusions come crumbling down. So that's up, that's on the personal level and the collective level. It's going to hit you much stronger if you've got anything in the very early degrees of the cardinal signs, so Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, but also if you've got anything in the very, very late mutable signs, which would be Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces. So any of those signs in like the early degree or the very, very late degree, you're going to have amplified energies, but 0 Aries, that's the world axis. And so whatever's happening with this, it's going to have larger import for the world. Now, I'm going to put the chart back up because we can see that at 5 degrees of Cancer, we've got 2 things there. Those are the fates. We've got Atropos and Clotho. And Venus is right there. So that gives us a clue that these fate-like energies are happening in connection to Venus. Now, she's the goddess of love, but also connected with our self-esteem, with our personal values. Clotho is the fate sister. So there were 3 fate sisters. We've got 2 out of 3 of them there. We're missing the middle one. Clotho is the beginning. She's kind of the one who spins the fate. She spins our life path ahead of us. And then Lachesis, who's missing, is the one who sets the length of time. And then Atropos is the cutter of the cord. So we get the spinning of the life. We've got the length of that life, or it could be a situation. It could be the life of something, not necessarily just a person. And then we've got the Atropos snip, cut, end. So it's kind of like, the story is there and we know the ending already, but we have no idea how long this is going to take. That's kind of the energy there, and that it has something to do with love. It has something to do with relationships and values, especially in Cancer. It could be family relationships or relationships that feel familial. And then if you look at the sun point, we've got Asbolus, and Asbolus is at 1 plus Cancer, so very tight conjunction with the sun point. And Asbolus was a prophet. He was specifically the prophet who predicted correctly the devastating war between the Lapiths and the Centaurs. And nobody believed him. He kept warning about it, and everybody went to this wedding of centaurs, and there was a big attack and a very bloody, devastating war. So there's this energy, and if you're paying attention to narratives in the collective, certainly the drum beats of war have been going. When we take that back to that square from Neptune and Circe and Boracisi, we get kind of a clue of the flavor of what kind of deception might be coming with regard to war, this kind of energy. And that also ties into the Sabian symbol of this full moon, which is 3 rose windows in a Gothic church, 1 damaged by war. So we're getting this coming from like all these different directions, this idea of a church or religion, organized religion. We're not talking about just spirituality. We're talking about like my way or the highway. I am correct. You are wrong. Therefore, I must kill you. We're talking about that kind of energy. And kind of the lies and deceptions and distortions that can create that, as well as our internal warning system, our internal, hey, this is not going in a good direction. Hey, this is creating unnecessary conflict that is going to be very hurtful. So that 1+ degree Cancer point, and again, we always round up for Sabian symbols. So the Sabian symbol for that 1+ Cancer point, where we've got Asbolus and the sun, is a man on a magic carpet hovers above a large area of land. And Dane Rudyard goes on with a keynote: the ability to expand one's consciousness by stabilizing one's point of view at a higher level. And so again, the magic is there. And so, what does this all mean? There's a lot of details here. What does this mean? What's the flavor of this full moon? It seems like we're getting energy that is forcing us to grapple with our, like not in my backyard kind of energy versus a realization of the oneness of all of humanity. Also kind of like not in my name, like what is being perpetrated in the name of what is supposedly correct. We're being asked to reevaluate traditions, reevaluate alliances. With Pluto at 1+ of Aquarius, that quincunxes that sun point of Cancer, 1+ Cancer, and Asbolus and the sun. And so, we've got this transformative energy about alliances, and we may get a feel of, oh wow, all this information that's been coming out, like all of a sudden I'm confused, I don't understand, there's like a lot of cognitive dissonance, a lot of energy that is going, wait, what? How can this be? That's not how you do things. That's that Capricorn energy. But then we've got that Cancer energy of, hey, we need to protect. There's some things that are worth preserving. There's some things that, we don't want to be hurtful. When we hurt someone else, it also hurts us. There's that awareness. But with Pluto involved, it's like you can't just shove it under the rug. Some of these things are going to come up whether we like it or not. And the question is that going to lead to kind of a death energy or a rebirth energy, or just a radical transformation of our values, our alliances, and what we feel we need in order to feel secure and at home. And so on the geopolitical level, that could have impact on, borders. It could have impact on, do we or don't we fight other people's wars? Do we get involved in things that are not our business, or, outside of our little zone of Cancer? Or do we say, hey, we need to be the world leaders and we need to put a stop to these things? That would be more the Capricorn energy. And it's a time to really pay attention to your internal guidance system. If something doesn't sit right with you, pray about it, meditate, kind of try to tap into that higher level of spirituality as opposed to the structures of the organized religion, more leaning into the unconditional compassion, that highest vibe of love. And see what comes up for you, both in personal relationships, professionally, and then see, where does that leave you as far as, wider outside events in the world. So definitely a full moon to kind of get you thinking as we're having this change of season in the Northern Hemisphere. Of course, we're summer solstice in the Southern Hemisphere, winter solstice, but that Cancer point is, that's an important shift, and we're moving more into the energies of nurturing and a recognition that things can ebb and flow. Ideas can change, feelings, especially feelings with that Cancer energy, watery tides, they go in, they go out. We are very influenced by the moon. Cancer rules the moon. But then we've got that Capricorn full moon literally the next day. And there is this like backlash almost, or an intensity saying, yeah, not so fast. We're not changing that. And so within yourselves, feel into which areas need to change, but which areas are in process of changing, but maybe it's not quite time yet because Saturn rules Capricorn, and that's, the sign of linear time, whereas the Cancer is more cyclical time, the timing of the moon, the timing of things that cycle in and out and in and out. And so we want to just pay attention to what's coming up. What do you need to do? What leadership roles are you being called into? And where are you being called to kind of hang back a bit and just provide some background support, or really just nurture yourself and nurture those that you love? So intense times for sure, but we in our inner selves do impact, what's happening out there. And so while those drums of war are beating very, very loud, take a pause and see if that's really where we want to go personally or collectively. So until next time, you guys take care. Peace.